All right, guys, I watched another Shudder original, or I think it was a Shudder original called Hunted. Came out last year in 2020 and is about a woman who is taken by two killers, and she escapes and is out in the woods fighting to defend herself against these killers. And that plot was what I knew going into it. I knew going into it that's what it was. But watching this movie, it's so weird because looking at this movie as a whole, it's a strange concoction of like ideas that are not fully executed, if that makes sense. Like, I'll give my positives first because there are good positives I really enjoyed about Hunted. I thought that this movie actually, in terms of the acting category, was really fantastic. Like the main girl, I thought was really good. Um, the two guys, so there's two guys that are killers. They don't have names in the movie. Well, one of them says one later, but I won't really say what it is. But on IMDb, one guy is called Handsome Guy and guy is called Assailant, or Handsome Guy's Assailant. So Handsome Guy, that character is a great villain. So looking at this villain, it is genuinely one of the most terrifying villains I've seen in a while. This character is an extreme wild card of a character. This villain scares me, and I really dug the performance of this actor who played him. I don't know what his name was, but of the real actor's name. But this guy who plays the main villain is freaking fantastic, and he is terrifying and one of the scariest villains I've seen in a while in a horror movie. Like I said, he's an extreme wild card who plays on people who he's using. He plays on everything that makes them do what he wants, if that makes sense. Um, there are a couple characters that he encounters where he does stuff that just terrifies me. And I'm trying to keep this spoiler free, but I don't think I can completely. I won't ruin the ending, but I'll kind of give plot points of it throughout. Um, so the main villain has an accomplice. The accomplice is gay, and the main guy gives him Viagra to rape the girl that they took, and then the main guy angrily like tells the guy to kiss him, and whenever they do that, like they run over an animal and the car crashes, and that's why the girl runs away. But he does that to this guy who's his accomplice, and he tortures this accomplice. He calls him stupid and everything. The main guy does, and then the main guy eventually encounters like this kid and a mother in the woods, and the way he talks to them is so demanding and so creepy. Where like he tells them like she's like these are two people who are survivalists and they're trying to figure out ways to survive throughout this, and the way he talks to them is horrifying, to these two survivalists, to this kid and this mother. um, and this villain does everything he can. The way he talks to people is frightening. He's a very intimidating character with every way of finding things about characters that he will make you like him, or he will treat you bad until you're his accomplice. And I thought that that was really cool, and just again, just with great charisma, that actor, like it's fantastic. That villain is the best thing about this movie. And like I said, the main girl is great. I think the acting's all great. um I think it is disturbing, it is creepy. And here are where the flaws come in for me. So, like I said, the villain's great, main character's great, acting's great, thrilling, blah blah blah. But this movie is so weird with like being a kind of a hodgepodge of like things that happen in the movie, but they don't. It never feels like they're connected, if that makes sense. So it's about at the beginning, the woman is at the bar. The main villain, and the accomplice go in. They take her with them, and then they crash, and then she's in the woods. But then they find other people. But then by the end of the movie, they're not in the woods anymore. They're just going to random places, and it's just the climax is random, and they meet random characters who have great like side stories, and then you don't hear from them again. And I'm like that. It felt kind of lazy, like in that way, and I don't mean lazy as in like, oh, the director's dumb or anything. I'm not thinking that at all. I wonder if that means that they didn't have the budget to like elevate these characters a little more, like the side characters, because I thought they were all interesting. I thought all the side characters were interesting as well, and it just never felt like the movie felt finished, if that makes sense, or polished. Like it never felt like there was a full idea of this movie and where it was headed. And by the end of the movie, it just I sat there like it's weird where we ended up, because we didn't end up in a way that really worked for me. Like I felt like the climax was very, I mean, it was still rewarding, but it was just very weird. Like it just didn't feel like that's where you would have hit it. But I guess that's cool too, because then it makes the movie slightly unpredictable. And I say very slightly because it's a predictable movie. Like it's a revenge movie. Like you know what's gonna happen, but it's still the way it ends. I thought was cool and rewarding, but it still just felt like it was kind of like random. Where like everything that happened. But to be fair, like I said, I keep trying to make excuses for it, but like it could be more like real life where like you don't know where you're going to be whenever this happens. You don't know how you're going to resolve yourself when this happens. So I thought that was fine. Um so like I said, like it's weird. It's a movie that doesn't feel like it was executed in story wise the best. Like it's just kind of like random where these characters go and meeting random characters who you don't fully delve into, and then they just kind of disappear, and their characters are great, the side characters as well. So it's weird with that kind of element. But looking at the movie as a whole, you've got a very creepy and intimidating villain, and you've got a great like main character girl, and then all the side characters are great, and it's creepy and it's weird and just random. And I it's a positive and a negative that it's weird and random. Like I like it, but also I'm just like it by the end it felt like it was just like whatever. But still executed fine. Like I did enjoy it. I did enjoy it a lot because like I said, the villain's the best thing about the movie. Um really dug it on those grounds, but still it's definitely worth a watch. I think I did enjoy it. It's a pretty solid movie, even though I've got annoyances with it. So that's my quick review on The Hunted on Shudder, and I'll see you guys in the next video.